What's going on, guys? It's McLovin Fishing. Today I'm going to be talking about the Deps 175, the gear I use to throw the Deps, and a little bit of how I fish it and what I do to the Deps 175 to make it perfect for how I fish. So a little bit about the Deps 175. There's the OG model and there's the new style model. The OG, of course, is the first style of the Deps that came out. That applies to 250 and 145. So the difference between the two is the OG is foam. It's a foam body bait, and the new style is resin poured. Right here is a new style in Flash Carp. What's nice about the new style is you can get these flash colors, where the OG model, you couldn't get those. So here is the OG in Keta Bass. As you see, I have a feather treble, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But they swim about the same to me. I find that the Flash Carp, the new style, can swim a bit easier. It can do what you want a bit easier without going like that in the water. And if you fish these before, you know you're swimming it wrong once it rocks or does a barrel roll. All in all, it's personal preference. I would try both of them, see which one you like better. It just will take some getting used to if you transition from fishing the OG to the new style or vice versa. Here's another Deps 175 OG style. It's the limited black color. With these three baits, the Flash Carp, the Keta Bass, and the limited black color, you can essentially cover all your conditions. You can cover your really clear water with sunny days. You can cover your murky water or even clear water, cloudy days, chop on the water, and you can cover the late and early hours. What's nice about all the slide swimmers is they're fished higher up in the water column, so that means you won't be snagged nearly as much as a jig hook bait. So with these, I'm not sure if you can tell, but I have 2 silver marks, and that's just to help me see the bait in the water easier. And of course the fish should not see that, seeing I fish these really high up in the water column, about 6 inches below the surface. Some of the new style Deps already come with silver marks painted on them to help you see the bait in the water, but in the case of the OG, they don't come with them. So I have a silver Sharpie. It's a oil paint marker. I haven't tried the actual permanent Sharpie silver color, but that's what I use to keep those marks on the bait, and they really don't rub off. Along with the silver marks, I like to tie on feather trebles. Yeah, that's pretty wimpy of a feather treble, but I feel like 3 feathers, 2 white, 1 red, do just fine for my waters. I really noticed a higher hookup ratio once I started tying on feather trebles. They're not nipping the bait as much, and they target this first treble where the feathers are. That's just so you don't have as much leverage swinging around on the bait when you're reeling in the fish. I also like to take off the stock split ring line tie on the bait. That's the first thing I do to it, and I change it out with egg decoy snap size 3. And with that, I don't use that so I can clip on and off the baits repeatedly, because it's like a paper clip. It loses its integrity if you clip the bait on and off too many times. So what I do is I just put all these on my Deps and then cut it at the line and then just retie it. The purpose of using the egg decoy snap is I have a wider action with it. Plus, when I tie it on to the egg decoy snap, I don't have the problem I do with split rings where the line gets caught up in between the 2 wires, or the bait doesn't get caught in between the 2 wires. So with these, I just have a wider action, and I have more confidence in fishing the egg decoy snap. Now for the split rings on the hook, I use Owner Hyper Wire size 4 split rings. That's a 50-pound test. You can go higher or lower depending on how fast you want the bait to sink. For hooks, when I'm fishing open water, not too tight to cover, I use Owner ST36BCs size 1. Again, if you want the bait to sink faster, you can use ST56. You can also use ST56 size 1 if you're fishing around timber, heavy cover, lily pads, anything like that. I noticed that I'm getting those followers to bite and stay hooked. So these are really key in my success with the Deps 175. As far as setups go, I use the Shimano Tranx 301 slow gear ratio, so it's a 5/8 to 1 left-hand reel. On that, I have 25-pound Maxima Ultragreen line, and with a 5/8-to-1 gear ratio, people say, oh no, that's not fast enough to fish glide baits. But I have no problem fishing a glide bait on the 5/8-to-1 gear ratio. It takes about half a turn, sometimes a quarter, depending on how much line you have. It takes about half a turn to get the bait to glide to one direction, and another half to switch directions. So the 5/8-to-1 gear ratio does just fine for the 175. The people that have been subscribed to my channel for a long time, when I started fishing swim baits, know that I used to fish 80-pound braid to a 25-pound test leader, and you just can't do that with glide baits. I found that I'm ripping hooks out of fish's mouth, I'm setting the hook too fast, and it was just a mess. I was bending out hooks. So you get that strength, so you're not casting off baits and you can fish around heavy cover, but you get that stretch so you're not ripping hooks out of the mouth of the fish. Now back to the rod. It's a budget friendly rod. It's only like $110, $115, but it's tippy and it has a pretty moderate bend for being fast action, so you can really get fish out of cover and those tight spots that you may be fishing the 175. It also casts the Deps 175 really well. It loads up perfectly, but I also have another option for those of you that don't want to get the 806 SB. The other option is the Dobyns Fury Series 795 swim rod. So it's a step down from the 806. This is more of a medium heavy action, so you get more of a bend, parabolic bend to the rod than the 806. It has more give, and it's really helpful for fishing treble hook baits. On this, I have 20-pound Berkley Big Game mono. It's moss green. I used to think that color of the line really affected the bites, but I found I get bit just as much on moss green line as I do with clear line. The reel I have on it is the Daiwa Lexa 300, and it's the high gear ratio. So I kind of have the best of both worlds. I have a high gear ratio on a medium heavy rod, and I have a slow gear ratio on a heavy rod. So with either rod, I have no problem getting in the fish. I can winch them out of cover just fine, and they're both great setups if you're just starting in swim baits. In addition to the gear I just went over, you'll also need a working class 0 travel ready measuring board. Now here's my measuring board. As you see, I have a couple stickers on there, and on the back I have a little list going of all my decent catches on the 175, and with that I use that silver Sharpie I use to mark the top of the Deps 175. So you can do that with a measuring board. I like the travel ready just because I can fit it in any compartment of my boat. As far as gear goes, that's as much as I got. I may have another part to this video of how to fish it and what retrieves I use. If I get enough likes on this video, then I'll make that video. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. I just really wanted to share with everyone what was working for me as far as gear goes. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to catch you guys next time.